So the Mayo footballers ended a long wait, 7 years for a Connacht title victory when they beat Galway at the weekend. I'm delighted to say manager Michael Moyles and Fiona McHale, one of their players, is with us this morning. Fiona, how were the celebrations after that?
Yeah, they were good. They didn't last too long. Everyone was back to work on either Monday or Tuesday. A few people had exams as well, but we made the most of it on Sunday night anyway. You have to, after a 7 year wait for a Connacht title, you have to make the most of it.
Scratching a 7 year itch is one of those great things in any sport. At what point during this season did you start to feel confident that, because obviously you've been thereabouts, and some years you've been disappointed, some years you've done really well in the meantime. So was there a point that you can look back on now and go, actually, this feels a little bit different this year. This feels like we're capable of doing it, and we have justified belief in ourselves.
Yeah, well, I suppose we're with Michael now and the management team. This is our third year, so we have been building. And I suppose even the first 2 years we were with Michael, you always had that belief, but you have to be realistic as well about where you're at and trying to build a squad and all of that. So I think this year with the league, even though we came out probably the wrong side of a majority of our games, what was really pleasing about the group was that for every training session on the Wednesday after those losses, we may have lost by a point or 2 points, it was all very close. The group just stayed positive. Everyone just kept their heads up, just kept focused on the next game. And I think that probably has been the most important thing this year. And things just really came together probably a couple of weeks before we went into the Connacht final. You were wondering when things were going to start to click, because you could be working on things at training and wondering, is this going well, is this going right, and you really, you do need a win as well at the end of the day to have that buy-in to what you're trying to do and all the things that you're working on. So probably just the way the group stuck together through those league games, and we came out the right side obviously of our relegation battle against Donegal, and that was obviously so important for confidence and morale within the group as well.
Yeah.
That game that Fiona mentions, Michael, I mean, that Donegal match was back in March. That's the last competitive game you had. Is that a tough test for a manager and a coaching team as well, to come in after such a cold period of no action? All of a sudden you're in the Connacht final.
I know, because I think there's plenty of teams around there that are looking for good high level challenges, and we had a few of those. And again, it gives us a time to maybe take a break after the league. I know Galway didn't have that same opportunity, so we took a week and we kind of reset the girls. Some of the girls were gone on an all-star trip, so it gave us a chance to reset. There was a lot of things in the league that went very, very well for us, but results-wise didn't. We just came out on the wrong side of it, and losing by a point or losing by 10 points is still losing. So, we knew, as Fiona alluded to, that we were close and things were coming good. I suppose for us was getting the group together. I think the first year and the second year there was a big turnover of players, and there's a lot going on in ladies football, as you know, so it's trying to keep a group together, and then once you do that, it's kind of striving for success. And we feel that we've a lot of consistency between last year and this year, and we got an opportunity to work on things maybe we didn't the previous year. So we were happy enough where we were at the end of the league, and as Fiona said, just getting over that Donegal game, we got 2 wins in the league. But it was just the survival in Division 1 that we were looking for, and to take the opportunity of the league to try out a few things and to make ourselves a bit better in a lot of areas where we needed it.
Is one of those challenges holding on to players? I know Rachel Cairns, 2-time All-Star, had come back in for the league campaign from Geelong, and I guess when you see the likes of Vicky Wall and other top players down under, it is tough to hold on to the top players. You can understand why they'd want to go, but at the same time, for the benefit and promotion of the game over here, we want to see them stay.
Yeah, but look, we can only do what's in front of us. We have a panel of 30 players, and Rachel is one of the girls that's in Australia. That she was with us last year, sustained an injury and had to go back to Australia without playing again for some. Was deeply disappointed. Rachel loves Mayo football, as all the girls do, but she put herself forward too, and she's been with us from the start of the year, and I think that's important. It's a tough gig for the Australian girls. It's a different ball game. And when they come back, it takes a bit of time to get back into Gaelic football. But we fully back all the Mayo players are in Australia. But for us, we need to concentrate on what's here. I suppose the commentary year round for my first 2 years anyway was about the people that were missing, and that's, I suppose, one of our remits is to make sure they're talking about the players that are here.
Fiona, we were chatting to James Tracy, the former Leinster player, on the show. He was in the studio earlier. And he was talking about the word hatred when it came to the relationship between Leinster and Munster. You've had this rivalry with Galway now in Connacht, and look, of course they were chasing, I think it was 5 in a row this year, so they've had a little bit of dominance in Connacht. But is there a bit of spiciness in that fixture, a good spiciness, one that kind of gets everyone up for the match, I suppose.
Yeah, there always is. And it's been really very much ourselves in Galway over the last probably decade, because every so often you might have Sligo or Roscommon or Leitrim who might come up to senior level, but that fixture is there and it's been consistent every single year. And really Galway have gotten the right side of it more often than not. But yeah, we like they're the same as us. Like that rival is strong, but it's a respectful rival at the same time. But yeah, we do enjoy playing each other. So and I'm sure there's a chance we could end up playing each other again, no doubt, at some other stage in the season this year too. So
when you look at the game of the weekend, 7-point victory, so it looks reasonably comfortable on paper, but that second half performance in particular, I think you outscored Galway by 2-6 to 1-1 in the second half. So that must be quite pleasing, Fiona, as well, to be able to push on in the second half when things get a little bit tight and testy.
Yeah, and there's been like certain games this year where we've probably had shaky starts, and we had a really good start. That was probably one of the factors in winning the game for us, was we got 1-3 on the scoreboard. And what was also pleasing for us was that Galway came back at us and they went ahead at half time, and there was no panic within the group. You could just really sense that calmness that, okay, Galway have got a point ahead, but we know what our plan is, we know what we have to do. And the second half, then, you know, you always need a bit of the rub of the green too, to get over the line. But I think just the squad that we have, and the fact that, you know, two of our subs, Sean Howley and Sinead Walsh, came on, and in that final quarter, I think between the two of them, they got 1-3 and probably contributed to the penalty too. So between the two of them, 2-3 of that 2-6. So it just showed the importance of the depth in our squad as well. So I just really think having that depth, but also just the girls being calm around Galway come back at us, because it was we went up, then they went up, then we went up, and then they got that goal in the second half as well. It was a real turning point, but the decisive thing for us really was the penalty, and Rachel slotted that really well, and that really just set us up then nicely for the last 10 minutes.
Michael, can we zoom out a little bit to the general championship? Over the last couple of years, obviously being involved with Mayo, you got to start local and try and win Connacht, but haven't seen just how quickly a team can come together and actually go and win the ultimate prize. Has that been an inspiration? Has it been a bit annoying that Meath were able to kind of come from nowhere and do that so quickly? How do you feel about the level of competitiveness that's there and the opportunity that represents for you guys?
I don't think Meath came from no place. I think there was a lot of work at underage, and they had underage success with a lot of those players, but like good structures, and they had a lot of momentum coming in, I suppose, winning intermediate and winning Division 2, and that's great. It's great for the game. You can see Kerry going from stride to stride, and it shows the work that's going on within those counties. For us, I suppose it's an inspiration, because it shows how much preparation and momentum can carry you forward, and that's, I suppose, one of our goals this year was definitely the Connacht title, because in a 2-horse race, it should never be a one-sided affair. It should never be a monopoly. So, look, that's going to help us. We feel that will help us, and that's why we put major emphasis, maybe more so than Galway, on the Connacht title. So we feel that momentum can bring us forward into the All-Ireland series. But I think teams are very levelled off now at the moment. I know Kerry probably at the moment are a step above everybody else who seem to be, but I think that will level off again, and it will come down to on the day with an awful lot of these games. And that's exciting for the LGFA, and it's exciting for the championship that you have so many teams that have the potential to win the All-Ireland.
That helps, doesn't it, when a team like Meath comes along, I'd imagine, Michael, that it gives everyone not a lift, because you don't want to see any other county winning by your own, but when you see a team come, as you say, it's not from nowhere, it was built up over a number of years, but a new face lifting the trophy, it kind of gives everyone a little bit of motivation.
Yeah, well, the dominance was there between Cork and Dublin were sharing it over. Cork for 10 odd years were winning, and then Dublin came and had their monopoly for a while. But somebody new to come in and come in, as you said, virtually kind of from no place and win it, and then put back to back, and they're not gone away. I know they've tried a lot of new players during the league. Then you have Cork, who are an excellent team. You can see that at the weekend. Dublin are still there. So look, there's a lot of teams that have the potential and would feel that they have the capabilities to win this championship, and would be going into it full-heartedly. So it's exciting. It's good to see, and it's great for the LGFA to have that competition.
You'd have cut your teeth, Michael, with I think at club level you would have, if I'm not mistaken, played with the likes of Stephen Rochford and Ciaran McDonald, who've both gone into coaching themselves, and you'd have played under Martin McHugh and John Mahon at county level as well. Like, have you picked up little bits and bobs over the years from different coaches, or are you very much your own coach, or is it a case of taking everything on board from what you've experienced in your own career?
No, absolutely. Always taking something on from everybody. Like, as you say, like Martin McHugh was with us in IT Sligo, and it was the time that back in the day when you'd had the quarter-final, semi-final and final 3 days in a row. So our training sessions were 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the morning. Like, so he was thorough. And like, you know, again, you've got John Mahan, Pat Holmes, like always great coaches when I was playing. But even now, like our coaching staff that we have in with the ladies, and the thoroughly deserve that level of preparation, are very good, and there's constant communication. So we're always learning. And, you know, the men are very good to us as well. We can pick their brains just on little bits and pieces. The ladies is a game apart, like, and a lot of us came from the men's game, so maybe took a while to just find out little bits and pieces of advantages there. Like, I think the kick-out's very important, and we've Micheál Slingerman in there, League of Ireland goalkeeper, played for Mayo, and he's excellent, like, you know. So those little bits and pieces we're always picking up, and we learn lessons in all our games. Like, we played Meath last year in the league semi-final, we played Dublin on a number of occasions, and you're always picking up bits and pieces, but it's just bringing them in and making them your own is important. And we're coming around to that kind of area now where our development is at the stage where we're happy. We probably weren't happy with a lot of aspects of the Galway game. We went 1-3 up and made a few mistakes and let them back into the game. And in the second half, even that goal was very, very preventable. I know they only scored 1-1, but it's bits and pieces like that we have to clean up if we're going to be on all Ireland contenders, or if we want to step up to another level. We have to start cleaning more of those mistakes up.
I know it's hard to quantify it, Fiona, but from a player's perspective, as Michael mentions, the kickouts, little things like that, like working with Micheál Slingerman in training, and I know Galway would have squeezed your kickouts for large portions of that game at the weekend, and you had a press, I think, on Galway's kickouts for a large portion of theirs. So how important is it when you're in the heat of battle, that you're thinking back to little moments in training and little pointers and coping with things and that you've already prepared for, I guess?
Yeah, exactly. And there'll be a lot of the times of teams where you might work on kickouts, you know, the training session before a game, or you might be working on a particular kickout, and it's not enough to just spend maybe 2 training sessions on something. And this is something that we've really focused on this year, that it's something that you can really go after and get a lot of impact from, especially even on the defensive kickout side of things too. Like, we've been on the wrong end of maybe high press for Meath last year. As Michael said, we've learned a lot from playing some of these big teams, but you have to be working on it continuously across the year. And, you know, we have particular focuses on certain aspects of the game, and then in a few weeks later you might revisit it, realising that you need to spend more time on it. So, but as Michael alluded to there, having Micheál Slingerman in there has been amazing for us, because like, I've learned so much from him. He's an outstanding coach. Just even the way he works with everyone, how he deals with the players, and just all the little tiny things that you wouldn't even think of. So he's been invaluable within the squad this year.
Fiona had mentioned there the strength and depth, Michael, a couple of minutes ago, and I think I'm right in saying in that Donegal do or die relegation decider, you made 17 substitutions in total across the year, which kind of pinpoints just how much talent there is in that squad. Can it be difficult having so much talent? I know it's a good problem to have, but from your perspective, you have a lot of decisions to make.
Yeah, and it can be frustrating for the girls, I suppose, because the league turned out the way it was, and we were in a lot of tight games, and we didn't get to give as many game time as we would have wanted. So, you know, that's what we were kind of alluded at the very start, that we wanted to get a squad together, a good, strong squad, girls that wanted to play for Mayo, keep them together, and then start to strive for success. And I think we have that now. It can be frustrating for girls. Like, we have some serious talent that didn't come off the bench on Sunday, and like, you know, they will have an opportunity again. But we need that, because even if we look at last year, we played Cavan in a championship game last year, and Saoirse Lally and Eilish run into each other. One had a broken collarbone, the other one dislocated her elbow. You know, 2 girls were out straight away 10 minutes into a championship game, and Saoirse Lally didn't play again for the rest of the year for us. Roisin Flynn came in and had a superb championship after that. Like, so, you know, it can be difficult to make decisions, and there's very little between players, but like, it gives us the opportunity, depending on who we're playing or the style that we're playing against or what we need, that we can kind of be a bit more diverse. Because the last 2 years we've got to All-Ireland semi-finals, and there's been a week turnaround. We beat Galway 2 years ago in a quarter final, and we played Dublin, and Dublin blew us out of the water in the first 10 minutes. Now, we were competitive after that, but the game was over. Again, we bet Cork last year, played Kerry, 2 different styles, and we didn't adapt. Within the week we weren't able to turn around what we needed to do. So now we have that in our panel where we can choose different girls for different games, and that's a brilliant weapon to have.
How has your game adapted and changed over the years, Fiona? Because that kind of half-back role has certainly moved on, and even look in your own county, the likes of Lee Keegan and Keith Higgins over the years, Paddy Durkin in the men's side of things. Like it's a position that's constantly evolving and changing, but I'm sure you've had to move along with it.
Same conversation as those 3 guys from a half-back perspective, but the game has completely changed. It's evolving all the time, but you see that in the men's game as well. And I know there's frustrations around the men's game at the moment with, it's really boring, it's very predictable, but that's just the way it is. Next year there'll be other tactics and the game will evolve again, but it's probably gotten more physical, and that's been a big talking point this year around the physicality and what you're allowed to do or not allowed to do. And refs are really clamping down on the tackle, and the charge rule is probably something that was a real talking point too. And I think, in fairness to the referees, that was a big talking point across the league, but it's like as if they've reevaluated and they have listened to maybe what's been said from players and managers in the media. That's what it appears to be, because it hasn't been as much of a talking point over probably towards the latter end of the league and even in the championship so far. I won't speak too soon, but it is a frustrating rule, and it's just frustrating how it has been interpreted. But I think referees are changing their mindset around that. But overall, the physicality has moved on a lot, and I know that there has been motions put across around changing the rules or adding that little bit more physicality, and where do you draw the line? So watch this space. Things could change over the next couple of years, but it's I'm getting a bit older too as well, so you have to change your style for that as well.
It comes for all of us, unfortunately. Fiona, thanks a million to both of you for joining us this morning, and congratulations on the Connacht final victory. Best of luck with the rest of the season, folks. Cheers.
Thanks very much.
It's Fiona McHale and Michael Moyles there celebrating their victory at the weekend.